Hi, everyone. Thank you all for joining us for our beef brunch news update on Tuesday, March 18th. We're gearing up for a pretty busy week throughout the state for us, but spring's in full effect. It's been sun shining. The sun has been shining. That's what I was going for. Although I know when I left this morning, about 5 o'clock, it was saying it was about 39 degrees at my house in Downsville. So it was a little bit of a shock for me when I walked out the door, but we're going to go ahead and let Trip kick it off for us for our regional updates.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank y'all very much for having me again. Got a brief update for the Northeast region. So we have settled into a fairly typical springtime weather pattern, which typical in the weather we've had for the last several years don't normally go in the same sentence, but it is pretty nice to be kind of looking at a little bit of normal weather for this time of year. Fortunately, we haven't seen too many severe spring storms like our brothers and sisters to the east of us have experienced. But our thoughts and prayers go out to those people that had damage and lost life in the tornadoes out that way. But fortunately, we've been pretty good thus far. Now, having said that, we're not out of March yet, so we could get 10 inches of snow dropped on us quick as a cat can lick his tail. But we're looking pretty good right now. Our nights are fairly cool, but it's warming up nicely during the days. Our lows are in the lower 40s at night, warming up into the mid 70s mostly during the day in the Northeast region. And that's bringing our soil temp up with us. Last Friday in Union Parish, I was on a farm call and I checked the soil temp and it was reading 58. Today in Franklin Parish, we're looking at a soil temp of 62. So we're inching closer to that magic number 65 where Bermuda grass is going to break dormancy. You can find places where Bermuda grass has broken dormancy all over the Northeast region, around shops, fence lines, places that might get more sunlight and just traditionally stay a touch warmer than our standard pasture conditions. But largely our Bermuda grass up this way is still dormant. Now I know that's a different story the further south you go in our state, but right now we're still waiting on a little bit warmer soil temps. Our daytime temps are kind of where we need to be for Bermuda to go on and break dormancy. You want our daytime temps to be in the 70s. Our nighttime temps is what needs to come up though for us. We're still getting into the 40s, a little bit too regular for Bermuda to put up with that too well. But it won't be long, and the conversation is going to be shifting from our winter annuals onto our summer grasses and hay season. So a lot of guys are working through their equipment, and like I talked about last week, making purchases of things that could become hard to get whenever hay season kicks off. So it won't be long. We'll be shifting gears. Speaking of our winter annuals, I'm in Franklin Parish today for Master Cattleman, and I got to see a lot of ryegrass grazing going on in the area. The grass is looking good. Our volunteers coming on strong. Even some of our planted varieties that had poor stands that I'd kind of written off. That grass is coming on strong right now. The biggest thing that producers fight, and it happens every year, is overgrazing. We've discussed the perils of overgrazing multiple times on this series. Be mindful of your stocking rates. One mind shift that I speak about frequently is thinking about pounds per acre as opposed to cows per acre, because cows per acre is not a very clear term, because a cow could be 900 pounds, a cow could be 1,400 pounds. There's a lot more 1,400-pound cows in Louisiana than there is 900-pound cows. So that making that mental mind shift to pounds per acre and finding a number that works for you, that your ground can put up with, is always important. We're doing pretty good from a moisture standpoint, especially on the east side of the state. Sometimes this year it gets wet on us. We got to get cows off our grass or else they'll stomp it into the mud. We're actually looking pretty good over here right now. Over in the hill country, that's rarely an issue, worrying about the mud in the field from a winter grazing standpoint. One thing that comes along with a boost in our winter annuals growing over this away is a jump on buttercup. Vince can speak about Buttercup control, uh, plans and strategies whenever he gives his update. Over here on the east side, it's pretty strong. A lot of the Buttercups already flowering. You're talking about mature plants. That seed bank, in a lot of ways, is already going to be established whenever that plant gets that far along in its life cycle. But I've seen a lot over in the hill country that is still in that smaller leaf stage. It hasn't flowered out. It's still pretty manageable. If you were to go ahead and get an application of herbicide on it now, you would be doing yourself a favor for this year and in subsequent years moving forward. Last week I talked about I'd seen a good bit of nitrogen going out on some of our winter pasture, and I thought that the round that they got across last update was pretty well going to be it, but It seems like every time I make that claim, I see more tire tracks and more buggies running around, and tire tracks don't lie. So there's still a little bit of nitrogen going out on our winter annuals, and plans being made for fertilization for whenever Bermuda grass breaks dormancy. We are pretty well wrapping up our spring calving. That's something I think we've commented on before, and people are looking forward to bull turnout, and people are looking for bulls. So if you have anything that you're looking to market ahead of this breeding season, please be getting the word out. Because like I said, we've gotten calls from producers fairly frequently looking for an animal to replace coming into this next breeding season. So please let us know. And also, if you are in need of a bull, please be getting the word out. We can kind of help you find some whenever we hear about stuff in our communities. Ladies and gentlemen, that is pretty well it for the Northeast Region update.
Thank you. I will say working pens are not excluded from the hill country not being muddy, as the person that almost face planted and was grateful she was close to the pen when my boots got stuck trying to push some cows out a week or two ago. But I know Dr. Twidwell, we had our Acadiana Beef and Forage Field Day at the Iberia Research Station Saturday, and he was commenting on the buttercup as well. And we were pushing to get some nitrogen out here at the Dean Lee Research Station at the end of last week too, ahead of some of the light showers we had. So Brittany, I'll go ahead and turn it over to you.
Thanks. So yes, I'm glad Tripp mentioned the buttercup. I have, in different parts of the parish and whatnot. Of course, I'm in between Evangeline and St. Andrew Parish. In that area, there's definitely a sea of yellow in some fields that you look in. It's definitely coming up a lot right now, and we do try to encourage producers, if you're able to. It is a really good practice to go ahead and get out a pre-emergent. And the producers I have spoken with who do, that practice regularly, they have seen it have really good buttercup control. It's just good to get ahead of that, for example, before it becomes a problem. But as Tripp said, you can, of course, still treat for that. I was not on our last update 2 weeks ago, but I did just want to share we had our breeding soundness exams over in Opelousas at Dominique's Stockyard. We had some good participation for that as well. So if you missed a BSE day that came up in your area, you can still go ahead and contact your vet about getting a BSE done, but just wanted to stress the importance of getting that done and making sure that your bulls, your herd bulls, in a good place, so you can have a successful calf crop, hopefully, for your later fall calving and whatnot. Spring calving, fall calving, yes.
Always do the BSE.
Yes, do the BSE. We also last week started our Master Cattleman class in the Central Region. So we have our second class taking place tonight. So we're excited to be able to offer that opportunity to people in the area. And I know Tripp already has a class going on, and the Acadiana down in Vermilion Parish, they're starting their class this evening as well. So just want to say, for everyone that is participating in that program, we thank you, and we hope that you get a lot out of it and that you learn a lot in the process. As far as our area, with the strong storms that came through this past weekend, where I live, at least, we were mostly spared. We just kind of had a lot of wind. Some of the rain tended to break up that forecast before, break up in the forecast, before it got to us. So we were lucky that we were spared from that rain again. But again, thoughts and prayers go out to those who were affected in the towns that had those tornado outbreaks. I know it was very devastating for many people. And then just kind of talking about, the weather recently, I've had some people call this, I've heard it called fake spring. So as we could kind of see, we got that temperature drop that came, during the night last night, and it was 39 degrees as well when I, got up and moving this morning too. So definitely some colder temperatures, but it's bringing us, some very beautiful days, some sunshine. If you did have some wet spots, you're likely seeing those dry up, and just some beautiful weather to get out and, get some things done and take care of some things, during this time of year. So coming up this week and next week, Vince and I will have, for our area, our last 2 pesticide recertification classes that we're putting on, just as a reminder that private applicators who do expire for 2025, you have until March 31st to go ahead and attend one of those classes. So March 19th will be in Opelousas at the St. Landry Extension office with a class at 1 and another one at 5. And then next week, I believe the 26th, is that correct? Yes, will be, no, not the 26th. The 25th, thank you. The 25th will be over at the Rose Pine Research Station there, just north of DeRitter, kind of between DeRitter and Leesville in that area, to conduct 2 more classes over there as well. I believe those are at 2 and 5. So if you have not, again, if you're, make sure to check in your area if neither of those works for you. But these are going to be our last 2 in-person opportunities, kind of across that central region of the state. So that's about all I have for now. So,
And they can attend anywhere within the state, correct?
Yes.
They don't have to, yeah.
mhm,
So you can go anywhere within the state.
anywhere. So if one of those dates, if the date doesn't work for you, you can always visit our website, search for the pesticide safety on the website. That's the easiest way that I find that. And they do have a list of, the meetings that they were updating, I believe, once or twice a week. So you can find all the remaining classes listed there as well.
Thank you, Brittany. Vince, we'll turn it over to you.
Thank you all for those updates. That's always good information. And Brittany, thank you for the pesticide update. We just want to remind those who recertify their cards, if you don't get your new card in a reasonable time frame, maybe 2 to 3 weeks after your recertification meeting that you attend, please let us know so we can help you accomplish that. We've had a few issues this year for some people that have recertified, and it's just either mix-ups at the printing location with LDAF or an address issue. So it's not a perfect system in all cases, but for the most part, they do a really good job of getting those cards out. But if you have issues, please let us know so we can help you rectify those issues as quickly as possible. We talked about both Tripp and Brittany talked about some pasture management. The buttercups, the ranunculus, are one of the issues. Starting to see a lot of bull thistles, dog fennel, a lot of things starting to emerge. Some of your perennial weeds that are often troublesome. Had a neighbor text me this morning about horse nettle and geranium starting to pop up in some hay fields and how to manage that. So even though we're getting to those upper 30s this morning, and they're saying again on Friday morning we're going to be in the upper 30s with a chance of frost even this far south in the state. We've had enough warm weather and warm soil conditions to make those more troublesome weeds pop on out. So be on the lookout for them. There are a number of different treatments post-emerge that can be applied. So we want to help you to rectify those issues in pastures and hay fields as quickly as you can. So remember, when you start clean, you stay clean through the harvest season, and also it's easier to kill small weeds than it is large weeds. So when you start to see emergence, it's time to be proactive and take those issues out of into your control and make those applications timely. I've had some questions about fertilizer applications. Tripp and I worked on one together last week. It's with Bermuda dormancy, it's going to be here before we know it. Even though we're having these cooler spells, but it'll be time to get some basic O-grade type fertilizer, phosphorus and potash out. And in the case of nitrogen, still a little cool yet to make any big applications of nitrogen at this point of the springtime. But we will be, this week we'll be moving into our spring equinox, so we'll be changing that season as we move forward in the coming days. So we should see a rapid change in our part of the world. Rice planting is wide open. People are starting to work in the cane fields. We're starting to see some green up in most of our crop areas. I was out planting a corn core block study this morning. It's very nice to be outside in the field these last few days. We've been spared by the rains from the last couple of systems that came through, but we were extremely wet prior to that. I think we'll see a lot of spring workings coming up with these newborn calves and vaccinations taking place here shortly. A lot of producers were waiting on better pen conditions to make those situations happen. So cattle that have not made it to the market, maybe some fall-born calves. I had a conversation with Lee last week. That area is red hot, and he probably provided the market report that you might give, Ashley, I'm sure. But if you have and need to make replacements, it's a good time to get those non-productive cattle, calves that are in your way in the mud hole at the pens. Get them marketed, get them out the way. There are a number of stocker sales coming up for replacements. I know they had a really big sale in Beaumont this past weekend. There were some producers from South Louisiana that went and purchased bulls. It's not one of those higher ended sales, but good quality sales that you can find some reasonably priced replacement bulls. And we've talked about bull prices. Bull price extremely high right now, even at the market for replacing that bull. You do the math. You sell 2 or 3 calves at $1,500 and $1,600 at today's market. You can afford to purchase a really nice bull to put back on your herd to make those nicer ended calves. And as once I was told, good cattle are not cheap and cheap cattle are not good, and it's extremely high right now. So be prepared if you're going to make some purchases on some replacements. It's going to cost you a few dollars, but it's all relative in today's market of what we're getting for our cattle. So with that being said, that it's springtime, it'll be time to start making some herbicide applications and cleaning fence rows and the hard to kill stuff. It's going to be easier to kill it when it's young. Had a conversation with one by text with killing briars today. We're starting to see some dewberry and some of the harder to kill species starting to green up and flower. Right now is the time to kill them when they lush and growing. You got a good kill on them, and maybe come back with some type of treatment that's going to hold them at bay through the spring and summer growing season. So good time to make a good burn down right now and come back with a good fence line treatment that will sustain the summer. So that's about all I have right now. It's just be timely on those applications of fertilizer, nitrogen. It's best when you have soil moisture to work with that. We just one weather event away from a drought or a flood. So be cautious of your expenses. Everything is still input costs, fertilizer costs, chemical costs are all still pretty high at the time in these times. So be cautious of your expenses and make good decisions. And if you need help in making those decisions, please reach out to us and take soil samples. Make fertilizer applications based on soil samples. Lime is a good investment always if your pH is a little off. So be prepared to make those purchases. And when you're generating a little income with the way the cattle market is treating us right now, it's a good time to make those investments. So I'll close with that.
Thank you.
And I did just want to add too, I was thinking about this when Vince was talking about planning, for that core block study today. When you are, out in this beautiful weather, just make sure y'all are doing what you can to have some sun protection. It's very easy this time of year, especially. We may not always think about it because it's not quite the middle of summer. But make sure, whether you're wearing a hat, make sure your arms are covered. Just having some sunscreen on that can really go a long way in preventing some problems later on down the road. And also just remember to, drink water and stay hydrated. So just a couple of health tips I wanted to throw in there as well, because we all forget those.
Take care of our cattle and don't take care of ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
All right, thank y'all. So yes, Lee did provide me with the market report. And in true fashion, this is honestly impressive. I didn't know how he kept up with his market reports and what he did. But it's a very nice Excel sheet that hopefully I will not butcher, because he left me good notes and arrows and things. So this is again comparing to our last report 2 weeks ago. So when we look at 5 to 6 weight steers, they sold the averages were $2.55 up to $3.42. That was a 2.75% increase from the last report. 5 to 6 weight heifers, $2.34 up to $3.16. That was just shy of a 3% increase, so a 2.99% increase in prices. Our cull cows declined just a tick. They averaged anywhere from $1.18 to $1.59. That was a 1.77% decrease. And then our cull bulls showed a pretty good increase, a 4.4% increase, averaging anywhere from $1.41 to $1.90. Our bred cows were somewhere around 2,950. So 2,950 for our bred cows, and then pairs were just over 3,500 at $3,502.78. And he did make a note in there that his confidence in that data was high. So thank you, Lee, for preparing us for that and making sure we had it to go. Mentioned earlier, it's a busy week for us just in terms of different agent events and trainings and things that we have. I know coming up, what would be tomorrow? Well, Wednesday, Trip has his beef and forage youth or beef youth field day that we're going to have over there in Winsboro. As Brittany mentioned, we've got both the Northwest and Northeast and the Central Master Cattlemen have already kicked off. Laney and Abigail are kicking off theirs in Vermilion Parish this week as well. Our AI school that we've been mentioning, that's scheduled for April 2nd through the 4th at the Hill Farm in Homer, that is full. But again, we say it all year round and keep mentioning it. If you're interested in that, get on the wait list for next year, or let me know if you're interested in the one that we have at Dean Lee in October. Upcoming Master Cattleman program. So we still have 2 more that have not kicked off just yet. The Southeast region will be at the St. Helena Extension Office. That's going to start in April, on Monday, April 7th. So I have that information in our website linked. Dr. Hay is coordinating that. And then the Southwest region will kick off May 1st. Bradley Poussaint's the coordinator for that. That's going to be in Cameron Parish and surrounding areas. He'll have a few different locations depending on the topic. Again, that one kicks off in May. So that information's in the video description. Then I've also mentioned our beginner cattlemen. So we are taking registrations for our beginner cattlemen. We advertise it as 10 years of experience or less, no cattle at all yet. But truthfully, if you would like to take it, even if you're more experienced and want to join it, we would love to have you. I have that website linked here. You can contact me. That's 5 different workshops. They're all listed. All those dates are listed online. It's 1 a month, starting in April. And those are going to be in the southeast part of the state. Our Northwest region beef and forage field day is on Thursday, April 24th at the Hill Farm. That's going to kick off at 8:30 and go until 2. Lunch will be provided, so we are asking that you do RSVP so that we have a head count for it. And you'll be seeing our flyer with all the topics and talks come out shortly. And then finally, again, go ahead and keep on your calendars. We're having an LSU Ag Center Hay Day at Dotson Ranch in Coshada. That's going to be on Thursday, June 12th. That is a full day event, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. It's all forages. So hay production, a bunch of equipment demonstrations, quite a few talks. It truly will be a hay day. It's going to be a lot of fun. We've got a lot going on for that, so keep that on your calendars. I believe that's it in terms of our events. We mentioned the pesticide recertification. Make sure y'all get with us on those. If one of these Master Cattlemen's is kicked off and you miss 1, maybe 2, contact the agent, see if they still have space for you or not. In some cases, not all cases, but in some cases you are able to make up some of those classes and still go ahead and qualify and graduate or successfully complete the course. So with that, we hope that we keep getting some good weather. Hope the severe weather stays out, and we'll see y'all again in just a couple of weeks.